guys, it's Miss Frazier here, and we are going to make our first foldable of the year, and it's going to be a DNA foldable, and this is what it's going to look like when it's all done, and this is what it looks like on the inside. This is going to be a great study tool for you guys because you will find these questions pretty much on every test you take this year. So the first thing you need to do is get your materials together, and you should have this sheet right here in case you forget the order that it goes in. This sheet will have the correct order for you. This is the one we did for bell work today. The other thing you're going to need is this picture sheet. Now mine is highlighted. Yours is not going to be highlighted just yet, but we're going to get to that. And then you're going to need a roll of tape for each person in your group. You should have a pair of scissors for each person in your group. Those are going to be in the buckets if they're not already in your little cart on your table. And then the last thing you're going to need is 5 highlighters, 5 different colors per group. So this is just per group, and you guys can share and swap out. As you can see on this sheet, each word is going to represent a different color, so you guys are more than welcome to share. Now, if you don't have enough highlighters, or for some reason you don't have highlighters in your cart, then you can use color pencils. Just be sure you don't use any dark colors with your color pencils, okay? So go ahead and pause the video at this time and get all of your materials together. So now that you have your materials together, the next thing we're going to do is we are going to highlight our sheet. So on this sheet right here, I'm going to project this up on the Promethean, and you need to color code it. Now, not everyone in the group has to have the same color for nucleus. You might have purple here, your partner might have blue here, I've got orange. It doesn't matter as long as each one is color coded a different color. So go ahead and pause the video right now and write all the things, or I'm sorry, highlight all the things that Miss Frazier has highlighted for you guys. Okay, great. Now that you've highlighted them, I just want to point out a few things that are very important so that you understand why I had you highlight what you did. So the nucleus is the control center of the cell. It's where you're going to find the DNA, and that's why it's known as the control center. The other thing that's important about the nucleus is that it's going to house the 46 chromosomes for humans, and half of each of those chromosomes are going to come from your mom, and half's coming from your dad. So you're going to get 23 chromosomes from mom, 23 from dad, and those are going to be housed inside that nucleus. The other thing, chromosomes, is the next one. What I want you to know about chromosomes, it's very important, is that they contain that hereditary information. They are made of genes, lots and lots of genes, and they control how an organism will not only look, but oftentimes how an organism will behave. We'll get more into the behavior when we get to our natural selection unit. DNA is what it's all made of. Remember what we talked about in class, how the string is kind of the DNA of everything. So everything's made of DNA, and the DNA is the instructions for an organism to develop, live, and to reproduce. You even have to have DNA to tell your cells how to reproduce. This DNA is what we inherit. It's what's passed from parents to offspring during the process of reproduction. When DNA is tightly coiled together, remember like our yarn, when it's really tightly coiled together, that is going to represent a chromosome. That's what we call a chromosome. When it's not coiled together, it's called chromatin. Now our gene, in our gene section, I had you highlight that is a small section. So anytime you see something about a small section of DNA, you know you're talking about the gene. Each gene is related to a specific trait. The example I had you highlight is like eye color. We talked about eye color in class, and that will determine what trait is expressed in the offspring. So those are the things that I wanted you to see. Notice how in that one we have genotype and phenotype that I didn't have you highlight. Those are 2 vocabulary words you're going to get when we get to our heredity unit. So we'll learn about more about those later. Now on our nitrogen base pairs, the word nucleotide I have not used yet with you guys this year. So I want you to notice how sometimes the state test might use different vocabulary. So I like to expose you to as much vocabulary as I can. They're going to mean the same thing if you do see them. I will be using nitrogen base pairs for my test though. There are 4 base pairs, which you've learned in depth, and they are the building blocks of DNA. Those 4 base pairs are adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine, and you've learned that the AT bond and the CG bond. Those nitrogen base pairs form codes depending on how they're sequenced, and we looked at that in class as well. And those codes give instructions on how to build specific proteins. When we put specific proteins together, we get different traits. and we call those alleles, which I haven't given you that word yet because we're going to talk more about alleles in our heredity unit. The example we give here is blue eyes. So blue eyes would have a different code than brown eyes, even though they represent the same gene. So at this time, if you'll pause the video, I'm ready to give you the next set of instructions. So after you've got everything highlighted and you understand the content, now we are ready to cut everything out. So I want you guys to go ahead and cut it all out. We've got it all color coded, so that's nice. So go ahead and pause your video and cut all of your materials out. Okay, now that you got everything cut, it's time to tape it in. So we're going to put our biggest at the top and our smallest at the bottom. So if you'll look at the projector at this time, go ahead and write this information down and tape each of the words in the correct order. Okay, so now that you've got all of your front done, go ahead and open it up and make sure you tape the correct picture underneath your words. So this is nucleus. We need to be sure the nucleus picture, which we've also colored the same color, and the nucleus definition is put right here. Okay, so if you'll go ahead and do that all the way down, the projector has the order on it, so you can take a look at that if you need help. Pause the video and take care of that. All right, the last step is to put your name on the back and also to put it away. You don't want to lose this. It's going to be a great study tool. We will have this information on almost every test we take this year, so do not lose your foldables. I'm looking forward to creating a way that we can keep up with them, so stay tuned for that, and I hope you enjoyed making your first foldable today. Thank you, and see you next time.